Really cold Tuesday in New York City. Evan and Tiki on the Fan. Very busy show. We bring back another edition of Posted and Toasted coming up. We'll find out why John Mara really loves Joe Shane and kind of tolerates Brian Daboll. And I will debut a Jets Stinko, their 5-0 list. But as the New York Jets continue their coaching search, I have my preferences, which we will get into, and the latest on who they're interviewing. But I have been very curious and also very excited to hear my partner, Tiki Barber, publicly endorse a New York Jets coaching candidate because I trust you. And I believe that you're an IFO, and I believe that the emotion that I have, you can kind of strip away.
Right. I'm not a troll either.
You're not a troll.
I'm not going to give you some random... Bring back Adam Gase. I mean, you're interviewing everybody else that formerly coached there.
That's something.
That's not me.
That's something Sean would do.
Yes.
But because you aren't a troll, I need to know, because there's so much conversation. We'll have it today, 888-808-1019, on who the Jets should hire, what the Jets should do. And I even have a list. I have my ranking list. I have my endorsements. But for you, Tiki Barber, as a guy that played the game, as a guy that got coached by various personalities, who should the New York Jets hire as head coach?
So it's become an interesting situation with the Jets because of, and I think we always knew this, but of recent, the impact that Woody has, or Woody could have, on who's going to take this job. And so as I was thinking about who's the best coach, like who can handle that type of situation, and as crazy as it sounds, and as I want to say down I've been on this guy, even though I shouldn't be because of the success that he's had in his second stop as a head coach, it's Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
So Mike McCarthy, we remember, had a ton of success in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Won a championship. And then he started getting wishy-washy with the offense, with the play caller, with the offensive coordinator, and Aaron Rodgers got mad at him, and basically Aaron Rodgers forced him out of there type of thing. And I don't know what their relationship is. It doesn't matter, but we'll get to it in a second because obviously there could be some implications here. But then he leaves, and he goes to Dallas. And Dallas is a unique place to work because Jerry Jones is as involved as an owner as any. We talk about, what is Woody doing? Is John Mara involved in XYZ? Trust me, Jerry Jones does that much more and times 1,000, right? He effectively was the general manager for the last decade. I think his son has now kind of taken over in that regard, but his hands are on everything. And it takes a certain kind of head coach to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jason Garrett did it for a long time, and he had his levels of success. The reason he didn't ever really feel like he was on the hot seat or getting fired is because Jerry Jones realizes that there's only a certain amount of people that can handle Jerry Jones. And Mike McCarthy is one of them. Now, his contract is up. The Cowboys have the exclusive rights to negotiate for another, 7 days, 8 days or something like that. But if Mike McCarthy wants to leave, and he might, I think the Jets would be an interesting stopping point for him because just like what you said for any of these other guys who would come in here, Brian Flores, et cetera, Aaron Glenn, whoever, they will come here, and if they win, it's like you are the greatest thing in the world.
Right.
It's New York. The Jets are starved for success. Mike McCarthy can bring success. We've seen it in 2 stops. Now, in Dallas, they can't get past the first or second round.
3 straight 12-win seasons, though,
right,
which I would sign for.
But they're always there.
Yeah.
Right, except for this year when Dak got hurt. So I think Mike McCarthy has some potential because he knows how to deal with an owner who's going to be intrusive.
Yeah.
Because he's dealt with it for the last 6 years in Dallas.
That is very interesting. But my follow-up would be, what does he do with the quarterback?
Right, and I knew it would get back to that.
Because, look, when interviews are taking place, whether it would be with Mike McCarthy, whether it's Brian Flores, whether it's Ron Rivera, I assume one of the questions that Woody Johnson and Mike Tannenbaum have to ask is, what is your plan at quarterback, and does it involve Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, you know who we have under contract.
Right.
Tell me what your thoughts are on, I guess, probably one of the first 5 questions.
Doesn't it have to be?
That's asked. Of course it is, because he's the biggest name on your roster. Now, he's not the biggest star because I think the young kids are becoming, the bigger stars, per se, in the league. But Aaron Rodgers is the guy. He's like the massive elephant in that room. And they have a history. It's not a good history. But let's think back. Didn't Aaron Rodgers have a lot of success with Mike McCarthy?
Of course he did, yeah.
Right? Didn't they win a Super Bowl?
They did, yes,
and so
they did.
Wouldn't it make a lot of sense for Aaron, who has not had success these last couple of years, well, obviously one because of injury, but to run it back with a guy who's familiar with how he operates? And so even if he is his quirky self, I'm talking about Aaron now, he's quirky self, he's got a head coach who knows how to deal with it, right? He knows how to get the best out of him. So it actually might make sense in an odd way that they reunite in a new organization.
Well,
and I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to love that, but if I'm Mike McCarthy, what else are you doing? It's the same conversation we've had with Beningo every time we have him on a Monday or after a Jet game. Well, who else are you going to have at quarterback? There's not a ton of great options when you're picking 7th in the draft this year. I guess free agency, but that's complicated as well because Aaron Rodgers is still there. You got to manage that situation.
What I will like about your suggestion of Mike McCarthy is that as this process has begun, I want someone who's done it before.
Yes.
Like that is, it's not the end-all, be-all, but it would be nice
to
have somebody with that experience. And Mike McCarthy doesn't just have experience. He's coached for 18 years in the NFL. And I think in 12 of those, he had winning seasons. And he's been in the playoffs in like 11 of them. Whatever the numbers are, they're very, very good. Now, he's had a lot of talent. No question about it. But
the Jets have a lot of talent.
They do. They have questions at quarterback. I don't know about the marriage between him and Aaron Rodgers.
But it's only going to be for a year.
Yeah.
Right? At max, it's 2 years.
Yeah, the only way the Aaron Rodgers remarriage works is if he restructures his contract. Because the cap situation, if you just bring him back for another year on the same contract he's on, kicks the can down the road in terms of how you got to pay the bill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So bringing him back will be more costly in 25 and 26 and 27 as opposed to just ripping the Band-Aid off. So the only way I would consider it is if Aaron Rodgers is open to kind of ripping the contract up and making it easier to deal with over the next few years. I just think that has the makings of ending in a disaster. Like,
I'm not saying it's ideal, but I can't think of any of the other great candidates that it makes sense. Well, mainly because of the Woody thing.
Well, the first part you mentioned about McCarthy, though, I am intrigued by. The fact that he's dealing with Jerry Jones. He's a veteran head coach. He's had success.
He's calm. Right? Never has those blow-up press conferences or he's never, like, angry or passive-aggressive. He's never any of that.
Yeah.
He just stands there, takes the music or, takes it on the chin or whatever and just answers the questions and goes back and does his job.
I mean, 5 years in Dallas in which you have 3 12-win seasons. Granted, you don't have a lot of playoff success, and you're dealing with Jerry Jones, and you're dealing with the scrutiny that comes with being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I would actually say his 5-year run in Dallas has been sort of impressive as an outsider based on that.
Yeah, I mean,
so that part I'm intrigued by. It's the marriage with Rodgers that just doesn't work.
Yeah, I hear you. But what else can Rodgers do? And I think the other thing is, what else can the Jets do?
Well, what else can the Jets do, I guess, is continue to interview people. I'm trying to remember. I think they're interviewing somebody today. But I can't.
What about
Rex? Rex Ryan, that's right. What about Rex?
I thought it was already Rex's job. Didn't he say that?
Well, what Rex said was, if he gets an interview, he will get the job.
Yes.
Because he will light that room up, which he's doing right about now down in Florida with Woody Johnson and Mike Tannenbaum. The band is back together, and he's going to try to light the room up and convince Woody Johnson and Mike Tannenbaum that he's the best answer to be the coach of this team.
I can just hear it. Come on, guys. You know me.
I love the Jets. I am the Jets.
You know I love this team. You've heard me talking about it on my
I'm all about the Jets.
I'm all about the Jets. I moved back to Florham Park, get my old house back.
Look.
Go to Starbucks and see Tracy Barber there. You know, her last name is Johnson. And say hello, Mrs. Barber, every day, even though it's Johnson.
Look, I have no problem with interviewing Rex Ryan. My attitude towards interviews is you should interview anybody. There's no negative to interviewing somebody. Maybe there's a piece of information you are going to learn that can benefit you down the road. So as a Jet fan, I'll start off by saying I am not anti-interviewing Rex Ryan. But the idea that this is the answer, that this is the roster stabilizing move, the franchise stabling move, and it's bringing back Rex Ryan, to me, would be a massive, massive mistake. And
Same old Jets.
I don't say this as somebody that didn't like Rex Ryan. There's a lot of people that didn't. And a lot of people who thought he was too blustery and too loud.
I actually loved Rex Ryan.
Me too. I loved Rex Ryan.
I just don't love the. So first of all, he's a retread in general because he's been a head coach twice already. But he's like a double retread because he's going back to the same team that he left or was fired from.
Right.
So it's just odd. It's weird.
Well, there's like 5 problems with Rex, but I feel like I always have to start off by saying I love Rex Ryan. Because I do. Because this is not like, no offense to you, Sean, hate to pick on you. If you go through Sean Morash's old Twitter feed, which maybe I have.
I don't know why you're catching shrapnel right now. We're talking about Rex Ryan. I don't know why he pulled
I'll explain why, though. It's going to make sense.
I know why Evan's going to say that.
So for our great segment that we do at 3:30 where we posted and toasted, I always do my research on old tweets. If you go through Sean Morash's old tweets about Rex Ryan, he says things like he's the worst coach in the history of football. He's a fat blowhard. Like, it is on and on with just...
That's because Brandon Jacobs created this fire between the Giants and Rex Ryan.
Tiki, Rex covered those banners, not Brandon Jacobs.
Bottom line is there are people out there that just never liked Rex Ryan. It happened on this radio station. Francesa would argue with Joe and I because Rex is a big fat blowhard, okay? He doesn't know what he's doing. He's this, he's that. He hated him. And we would argue with him because, to me, he was producing results. So I know that there is a side of the aisle, which includes Sean Morash, which includes Francesa, which includes many others, that have always hated Rex Ryan. I love Rex Ryan. But he's not the right guy for this job right now. And let me just give you one of the many reasons I'll give you. His last job in the NFL, not even as a head coach, because you can go back and become a coordinator again, was 2016 when the Buffalo Bills fired him.
It's true. It's a long time ago.
He has not been a coordinator since, and to Rex's credit, he's tried. He interviewed in Denver under Sean Payton. He didn't get the job. He interviewed in Dallas. He didn't get the job. So this is not, hey, Rex just went to TV and said, screw it, I'll never be a coordinator again. He did interview for coordinating jobs, but it's been 8 years since he's been on a sideline or in a booth with an NFL team.
Yeah.
He's been on ESPN.
That's a long time.
And it's
8
scary.
years. This will be his 9th year.
And doesn't this sport move at such a pace of evolution that being away for 8 years can be kind of concerning?
So we talked about the conversation that they'll have about Aaron Rodgers, whoever the head coaching candidate is. But I think the most immediate one before even Aaron Rodgers for Rex Ryan is what's your staff going to look like?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Who are you hiring as your offensive coordinator, your offensive line coach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Defense, maybe you can have, because the old school defenses are still managing to have some success. Like, look at Vic Fangio. Right. That defensive scheme, even though there's some new adjustments to it, it's 15 years old, right? And it's still having a lot of success in the NFL. So defensively, you're not worried about it. But the offense in the NFL has changed significantly. So who is he bringing? And who is going to be his offensive coordinator? Who is going to manage Aaron Rodgers and that expectation that obviously is there, or whoever your young quarterback. If it's a young quarterback, it's even more important, right? Who's grooming that kid? So the staff question is probably as important, or maybe more important, than the Aaron Rodgers question for a Rex Ryan.
And the staff question was also very questionable at the end of his tenure when guys like Tony Sparano and Marty Morningwig were the offensive coordinators.
Yes.
But I just fear that being away from this game, not that he hasn't watched football, but it's different. Watching the NFL and coaching in the NFL are very different things. So I wonder 8 years later, without ever being a coordinator since, if he could just go back on the sideline and just pick up where he left off. Not that where he left off was good, because the end of his Jet tenure was bad. So the appeal of Rex Ryan is that he is so good in front of a microphone. Oh, my God, will he win that press conference?
That's why he's great on television.
Of course. And he's inspirational. As a Jet fan myself, he'll say things that want to make me run through a wall. But I don't think that's the right answer. And it just feels like something that would get a lot of attention. We'd all be like, whoa, this is crazy. And it would just horrible.
Well, here's the thing. It would obviously get a lot of attention, but would it calm the noise?
No.
Would it quiet the fan base? Would they be accepting of the potential of Rex Ryan?
I think there would be, if they hired Rex Ryan, in my opinion, there would be a Jet fan civil war. Because there are Jet fans who love Rex like I do, but won't stop there. it will go with bring him back, bring back the bluster. He's the only guy that can fix this. And then there's a lot of Jet fans who say, what are we doing? This is a horrible, horrible decision.
Same old Jets.
So I think it would turn into a Jet fan civil war, but you hit on something about Mike McCarthy that I do find very, very appealing. And that is calming the waters of a franchise that is a mess.
Right. He is a grown-up in the room.
He is a grown-up.
Even with the Aaron Rodgers drama, you never heard it from his side.
Right.
It was always not Aaron's himself, but Aaron's people saying this is what's going on. It always came from the Aaron Rodgers side. It never came from the Mike McCarthy side. He just kind of always just, okay, yeah, it is, yeah. You know, we'll work through those things and we'll get it figured out.
Right.
That's how he was in Dallas.
Right.
With the whole Dak stuff and bringing Zeke back. Like, it just always feels like even when it's not going well, you don't notice it through him.
Well, and also the biggest criticism he's faced is some of the decisions he's made come postseason time.
Yes.
If right now this could change in 5 years, but as of right now, I long for us screaming and yelling about playoff decisions.
I agree, 100%.
That sounds like
I want to fire my coach because he can't win playoff games.
Yes, I urge that. I would love to have that as a Jet fan. So Tiki has said Mike McCarthy. I am anti-Rex Ryan, though I'm okay with the interview, and we've just been informed that the interview has concluded. Right, Sean? It's over.
It is over. During this open, Rex Ryan has left the meeting room.
Oh, so he's probably in the car. You think he could call in?
What about Rex?
888-808-1019.
No,
Please,
it's not.
Rex.
It's not a good idea.
Why?
Because Rex, I admit this. I'm going to raise my hand. Rex Ryan is so good at inspiring.
Yeah,
that
you would be bought in.
I'd be in his cult.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Like, he would just get me so fired up by the time the interview ended or the discussion ended, I'd say, screw it, Tiki! Bring Rex back!
Let's make sure we play like the New York Jets.
See, I know
It's
this.
funny. Stuff like that just sounds right.
It sounds amazing. In fact, these clips that Tommy are playing, it's already working on me.
Because it's pro wrestling. That's why you love it. It's
Yeah,
pro
but
wrestling.
isn't that half of it, especially when you're trying to motivate a fan base?
Of course, and a
Try to
team.
galvanize a team around everybody.
Because you know what? Emotionally, it will work. But at the end of the day, will it work? And the answer is no. The answer is
You don't
no.
know that.
Do you think if Rex becomes the coach of this team, and you said it, we have no idea who his offensive coordinator would be. We have no idea, though we'll get to it in a few minutes, what his plan would be at quarterback. Like, do you think ultimately, like I said yesterday about the Giants, we're going to be sitting here a year from now, and they're going to fire everybody? That's my honest prediction. If they hired Rex Ryan, do you believe it would work, Teak?
I actually do.
No, you don't.
I do. I do.
You do?
And I don't know how long it would last, but I do think it would work.
We'll get to your calls coming up, 888-808-1019. Plus, one of the most important questions Rex Ryan was asked at his meeting today, the same question every quarterback or every coach will be asked, is what will you do with Aaron Rodgers? Well, the difference between Rex Ryan and everybody else is that Rex talks into a microphone for a living. So we know what he would do with Aaron Rodgers. We'll let you take a listen and decide, does this disqualify him as head coach material of the New York Jets? Plus, who should it be? Should it be Brian Flores? Should they just throw everything at Mike Vrabel? Is Tiki right that Mike McCarthy is the calming influence? 888-808-1019.